Hello my dear friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about social media detox and how can we consume social media in a more meaningful way. According to most recent studies, over 90% teenagers would prefer to have physical pain rather than give up their phone. That is pretty crazy if you ask me. So today let's look at how we can reduce our time on social media and get the best out of it. Let's get started. I want to give a little bit of backstory of why I got interested in this topic, and in the second part of the video I'm going to cover some tips that I learned from my personal experience for managing your social media more effectively. I have always been an avid reader. I was able to concentrate on reading a book for 4 or 5 hours non-stop, but recently I have noticed that my attention span weakened a lot. I had trouble going through 2 to 3 chapters and having that concentrated time of where I would just read undistracted. When I started looking into the patterns of my behavior that changed, I realized that I started spending more and more time on social media, more specifically Instagram, and it felt like it affected my ability to concentrate for longer periods of time. At that point, I was not sure that was the case, so I started doing a little bit of research and I came across the book that is called Irresistible by Adam Antler. If I'm not mistaken, the subtitle of that book was something like "Why Can't We Stop Scrolling, Checking, Texting?" I'll paste the full title of the book in the description box below. By doing my research, I came across the term which is called behavior addiction. What it means with the behavioral addiction is that once you do a specific behavior, you get a reward. So you are compelled to repeat that behavior. Does it remind you of a scenario like this? When you go to Instagram, you get a like or more likes that you did on the previous photos, you are more compelled to post more pictures. What happens in our brains at that time is that when we go to social media, we get a dose of dopamine, and dopamine makes us happy. So when we feel unhappy next time, we again go to social media and get another dose of dopamine. This is why we keep scrolling through social media and going through the feeds. It rewards our behavior by giving us these doses of dopamine and boosting our mood. What it also does is that it imposes on us these goals that we never meant to accomplish and that we don't even need. Another example was Instagram. When we go and post a picture and we get some likes, we suddenly get another goal to post more pictures, although might not necessarily be what we actually need or what we're working on. In a similar way work the fitness tracking apps, and that is, if your daily goal 10,000 steps, did you notice how when you are at 9,000 steps, you will keep on getting the buzz that there's 1,000 steps more left and you can do it today? I'm not saying that this is necessarily a bad thing. These apps can definitely be useful to help us get to the place that we want to and accomplish some of our goals, but it's important to mindfully filter them. I bet you also noticed this, that when you're watching Netflix and you come to the end of an episode, you see the screen that says next episode playing in 10 seconds and there's a countdown and the next episode starts. This is yet another technique of how the social media or any kind of media platforms are constructed to keep us engaged and to keep us more inclined to watch, scroll, text, and spend our most precious resource, which is time and attention, on those things. So now that we know a little bit more about how it works, the question is, what can we do to more meaningfully manage our social media and take the best out of it and not the worst? What I want to start is to comment a little bit on challenges like 30-day give up Instagram challenge or 30-day give up Facebook challenge. I personally tried those and it was okay to be without those social media for 30 days, for 60 days. I was fine. I was compelled to check them, but once I removed them from my phone, it was much easier not to do it. But the pitfall with those is that once that challenge time of 30 days detox is over, I would install the apps back, and I would be right back at the spot where I started. I would be back again on my phone. I would be checking my Instagram first thing in the morning. I would be scrolling through my phone at lunch. So although it was good to take that time, I didn't find that social media detox challenges for 30 days or so very sustainable way or very sustainable long-term approach to managing my social media. So what did I actually find working? There are a few principles that I use in my personal social media approach or social media management to make sure that it doesn't steal my attention, that I am on track, but I still get a little bit of that social media exposure where I can interact with my friends and interact with someone that I follow and who inspires me. One of the things that I found that works great is called behavioral engineering. For example, have you noticed that if you leave your phone on your nightstand, the first thing you're going to do in the morning is to take it and start scrolling your social media, and then you don't realize how 30 minutes are gone and you could have used that for something else? The key here is placing the phone on the nightstand. Tech companies spend billions of dollars every year in user research, and they make those apps addictive on purpose. One important thing to realize is the willpower does not work. It's not enough to help us mindfully manage our social media. When my phone is on the nightstand, I know that I am compelled to go in the morning, take it as a first thing and start scrolling. So what I did is that I actually deleted all social media apps from my phone. I still need my phone as an alarm clock, but you can even remove that and just use a regular alarm clock. What I did is just remove all of those social media apps from my phone. There's no Instagram, Facebook on my phone. The only thing that I have is the texting app that I use for my family and closest friends. Knowing myself, this for me has been the most effective way to minimize the amount of time when I'm compelled to check social media. People often ask me, how do you post on Instagram if you don't have an Instagram app? Very easily. Well, actually not that easily. I have made it on purpose a complicated process for myself to not do it that often. So yes, I install the app, I post a picture, I delete the app yet again. I do still check my social media from my computer browser, but I still have to turn on my computer, log into my social media, do two-step authentication. There's like a whole long process that discourages me to dive into it as the first thing in the morning. Some other ways in which I engineer for myself the environment where I'm less compelled to grab my phone is, for example, when I go to the gym, I would purposely leave my phone at home, or I lock it in the locker and I don't take it with me when I do the exercises or the workouts. Also, very often when I go out with friends, I would purposely leave my phone in the bag so that I don't even take it out and put it on the table. When I put it on the table, it is like that distraction that's there and it's attracting me, and if the conversation gets boring, I'm really compelled to grab it and look into it. So the method that I found for me is to just minimize it and hide it. This is about how I have engineered that environment for myself when I am consuming social media only when I'm consciously want to consume it. My next point is getting back your morning and evening hours. And here I mean not checking your phone the first thing in the morning and not checking it before sleep. It distracts our brain in the morning from the important tasks that we need to do and makes us lose that precious time that we could use in the morning for so many different activities like exercising or meditation or having a proper breakfast. And in the evening, it stimulates our brain with unnecessary information right before sleep. We don't need that flow of information coming into our brain when we are getting ready to rest. So some tricks that I did to get my morning hours off, I already mentioned that you can get something like an alarm clock and leave your phone in a different room so that when you wake up, it's just not there. This so far has been working for me. For getting your evening hours back, there can be several approaches. I personally do a few things, such as number one is putting my phone on airplane mode around 8 p.m. From that time, nothing comes in, I don't get any notifications, and I can just focus on my evening hours without any distractions. Another thing that I did is that on my nightstand I put several books, like non-fiction books, fiction books, anything that I might be interested in, so that when I'm compelled to grab my phone in the evening to check it and I don't have it, I have book as a replacement. It has been working pretty great for me because by reading in the evening I was able to relax my brain and prepare it for sleep. The third strategy that I use is setting the time when you will be using the social media. What I do is that when I plan my day, I have two important rules. First one, you can check social media only after 5 p.m. and if I manage to stick with that goal for the day, I would reward myself with something nice, like a nice cup of hot chocolate, or just taking time to watch a video that I really like in the evening. The reason why I put that 5 p.m. time is that by 5 p.m. usually all important tasks in my day are already accomplished and I have been focusing really well on them. So now I can have a little bit time off and I can enjoy that social media exposure for myself. When I was doing that experiment for the first few days, it was extremely hard to get to 5 p.m. I kept on checking my time and I was like, can I already check what's happening in the world out there? But as the time went on, I've noticed that some days I would only check it at 7 p.m., some days only at 8 p.m. I was so present in the real life and focused on the things that I needed to do that I didn't even notice that it was already 5 p.m. and I can check social media now. So this exercise helped me to shift my focus from mindlessly consuming and going down the social media rabbit hole versus mindfully consuming it when I am done with all my important tasks during the day. The next strategy for me is consumption versus creation. What I came to realize for myself is that I get more meaningful satisfaction is by mindfully producing the content, by creating versus consuming. So by reducing the amount of content I was consuming, I was able to focus more and use that time for producing something that I wanted to create. What I can recommend here is that when you are about to go on the social media, think about it. Is there anything creative that I want to put out? Is there anything that I want to post versus just consume what others have published? And don't get me wrong, it's totally fine to consume, but just shifting that perspective and being aware what you put out there in the world, and if you're putting anything out there, helps you to more mindfully approach what's coming into your mind. Hopefully that makes sense. And the last but not least tip that I can suggest is getting rid of any kind of notifications that you have on your phone. I don't receive anything, neither to my email nor to my phone. I don't need to know when the video came out. I don't need to know what came out. At this moment, I'm present with something else. When I have the time to do my social media and to check it, that will be the time when I go through these notifications. But I don't want to see them on my phone screen, uninvited, out there, enticing me to go there and to check all the possible updates that happened in the last 2 hours. I already mentioned that I don't have social media apps on my phone, but I also don't receive any notifications from YouTube. Although I do have that app on my phone, I don't receive any notifications from work, any notifications from email. The only thing that I get is a text message or a phone call when somebody calls me. Everything else is off until I go in there and intentionally check it. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. I do hope that these tips are going to help you to more mindfully approach your social media. It can take a little bit of time to find the processes that work for you, but I encourage you to give it a try and to experiment if you're interested in having more meaningful relationship with social media. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel for more exciting content coming up. Until next time.